Awesome. Jeremy, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, man. So yeah, let's if we can, let's start. And I don't even know, what do you prefer? Because you were rocking and rolling. Do you want me to sort of answer, or I kind of role play, and I never give people the chance to answer. So what do you prefer? Do you just want?
Usually I just role play with myself, but let's do
Yeah.
it two-way, and that's you can give me the answers, obviously.
Okay. Well, okay. We can do that. I was gonna say, if you're comfortable just rocking by yourself, I'll shut up and just
Yeah,
listen. Cause
you know,
okay,
if you're fine with that, I'll do that. I'll just go by myself, and feel free to chime in where you'd like.
please. Okay,
Okay.
take it away.
Well, first step obviously is when we're calling for you, we're calling the fronter team. We're basically saying, Mr. Seller, if you really want to get the home sold and move down to Florida so you can retire and get out of the Carolinas, that you gotta meet with Jeff Rourke this week, because this guy will sell more homes in these next 2 or 3 weeks than most folks sell their entire year working full time. And when Jeff gets there, he's going to show you exactly what it'll take to get the home sold this time and not just listed. So we set that appointment. We're calling the fronter team. We're saying exactly that. When we send you over the appointment, we're telling you how much they owe on the property. What will they do if the home doesn't sell? Which, as an agent, that was always my favorite question, to see if they actually have the ability to stay put, or if they actually have to sell. If that's not an option. If they're interviewing anybody else, and obviously the question, if what Jeff says makes sense, that consumer being open-minded about listing the home with them Thursday 4 o'clock as well. So we set the appointment. We'll send you 12 to 16 of those every single month in VIP. The key to making this work is that you have to show up to at least 50% of the appointments. I always say, if we're sending you 12 in a month, then realistically you should be meeting with between 7 and 9. Some of them are going to be crappy. Some of them will cancel. Some of them will be 50% overpriced, which obviously we have no clue on our end. But you should be meeting with 7 to 9. So Jeff, feel free to stop me, but if you're cool with it, I'll just keep going. The way that I typically recommend, and this is just my recommendation, by all means, do as you wish. But I do have what I call my 20% rule. And what that is, and we send you over a listing appointment. If you have to, you may already know the street, you may already know the house, but if you don't, do a 2 or 3 minute CMA. Get an idea as to where the home needs to be priced at to be realistic. If they're within 20% of being realistic on price, now the key word there is 20%, not 5%, but within 20% of being realistic, I want to show up to that presentation. I want to have a face-to-face presentation. I want to educate them as to why their price is wrong, remind them as to why they want to sell, and at least having that bat to get the contract signed. And I sure as hell I'm not going to do that over the phone. So if they're within 20%, all I'm going to do is call them up, introduce myself, say I'm looking forward to meeting with you, confirm their motivation, make sure their motivation is consistent with what they told us on the phone. And sometimes they're funky and they change their mind, but make sure it's the same, and confirm or change the time. So basically it would say, hey Jeff, Jeremy Herman, this is Jeremy Herman over at Keller Williams. I'm looking forward to meeting you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Pat told me you want to get the home sold because you want to get a bigger house because the kids are growing. Is that correct? Yes, fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to meeting with you. Does 4 o'clock still work for you? It does? Great, fantastic. Well, I'll tell you, I've done all the numbers. I know I can get the home sold. I sold 150 homes this year, so there's no doubt in my mind of my ability to help you and your family get a larger home. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at 4 o'clock, so see you then. So I'm not going to go into price. I'm not going to start going to a bunch of dialogue. I'm not going to answer any objections. I'm going to divert everything else to a face-to-face presentation, because it's my job to get face-to-face to educate them. I'm the expert, not them. It's my job to make that clear.
Yeah, that's perfect. So if I can stop you there, can we go back, and assuming I do know the neighborhood, we're outside of the 20% rule. You had a pretty strong script that went something like, are you comfortable, it didn't work at 270. We know that. We know homes are selling between blank and blank. Are you comfortable discussing when I come out Tuesday at 4, 250?
Yep.
Can you?
Exactly.
Yeah, can you?
I was about to roll into that. If the home is over 20% overpriced, which again, sometimes they are, and you have to remember, over here in our office in Rochester, New York, we have no clue what the real estate market's like in Raleigh or any of our clients for that matter. So we have no idea if they're realistic or not. But assuming they're 20, 30, 40% overpriced and they're just out of their mind, I'm going to call them up and say, hey, Jeff, Jeremy Herman, Keller Williams, I'm looking forward to meeting you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Pat told me that you want to get the home sold to get a bigger house because your kids are growing, correct? Yes, fantastic. Well, hey, the good news is I've already ran the numbers. I know I can get the home sold. I sold 150 homes last year. There's no doubt in my mind of my ability to sell your property and get you and your family into a larger home. I got to tell you, though, you came out to market at 275. When I come out to the house tomorrow at 4, we're going to be talking closer to 195, maybe 200. Are you prepared to have that conversation, or would you prefer to cancel the appointment? And if they say, well, 195, 200. I mean, Christ, I can't sell for less than 250. I mean, that's my bottom line. I can't do any lower than that. Hey, Jeff, I hear you, man. I appreciate it. I'm with you. I'd love to sell your home at 250. We both make more, trust me. But I have to be honest with you. Your home won't appraise at 250. And anybody who tells you otherwise, frankly, is lying to you. I know I can get your home sold. I know I can help you and your family get into a larger house, and I'm sure you know that your house is too small for how many kids you have. But when I come out there, we're talking low twos, maybe even below that. So again, you tell me, do you want to keep this appointment tomorrow at 4 o'clock and have me show you how to get the home sold this time and help you and your family get into the next property, or would you prefer to cancel the appointment? Well, let's just cancel. Hey, no problem. Take care. Give me a call if you change your mind. We're always here. Happy to help.
Perfect.
So it's really simple. If they're within 20%, I'm going to get face-to-face. If they're over 20%, I'm going to protect my time. And if I say, hey, it's 195, and they say, you know what, I'm not surprised. I thought 275 was high. Why don't you come out? Well, great.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? My last agent was drunk, and I told him 275 wouldn't work.
Exactly. So
I've gotten that before, a handful of, they're like, well, we thought that was ambitious. It's like, hello.
So you may surprise yourself and get that, and you just saved yourself 45 minutes of talking about the CMA. Just go in there, show them 185, and sign the contract.
Yeah, that's right. No, yeah, I mean, I enjoy it, and I can tell to you it's a game, and to me it's a game, and not to say well, it's to me it's a game to me, so I enjoy it. Yeah, exactly. It's a strong competition. Well, it's actually not too strong. Not many people fighting, but yeah. So I love it, man. So that's too powerful. So that basically confirms and schedules confirms the scheduled appointment. And I love the introduction of the 20% and the clear, candid, objection handling. Are we comfortable going there? If not, cancel it, shove it, do whatever you want. I'm not coming out. Perfect. Awesome. So do you want to do the 3-part listing presentation?
You got it, yeah. So when you actually get face-to-face, when you get to their house, you say hi to the sellers. I usually walk around the house, say hi, pick up on any knickknacks that you might have that, might be trigger buttons for them, things you can build rapport on, all that good stuff. But once you're at the kitchen table and you're talking about, the listing process now, I don't have a particular script that I use. It's not line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. It's really more segments. I'm a firm believer that I need to be in control of the conversation. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about when I'm ready to talk about it. I'm not going to go beyond, what I want to do. And again, I'm in control, not them. That's what salespeople do. So step 1 is to talk about them. Why they want to get the home sold, how soon they want to get the home sold. Spend 5-10 minutes, on the realistic fact of what will you do if the home doesn't sell. Your kids are growing. You have a 3-bedroom house. It's pretty clear you need a 4, maybe even a 5. I know your wife wants another couple. I mean, can you guys handle 2 mortgages? Would you rent this place out and go live in a rental because you can't handle 2 mortgages? Is it not an option for you guys to stay put? Would you throw the kids in the closet? I mean, realistically, what are your options here? And have a real, come to Jesus meeting and make sure all of you guys are on the same page as to realistically, what their plans are, what's realistic for them. The question that wraps up segment 1, and this is extremely important, so if you're listening to this, make sure you write this down, because this is the question that locks us down, is at the end of segment 1 say, so would you guys agree that it's in your best interest to get the home sold right now, and say it like that, right now? Would you guys agree that it's in your best interest to get the home sold right now versus staying put the next 2, 3, 4 years? Stay quiet, make sure they answer. The key is I'm not moving forward until they say yes to that. The important part about that is we're not talking about ability to sell. We're talking about desire to sell. Desire and ability are 2 very different things. So it shouldn't be too difficult to make them, agree that, yes, I'd prefer to sell my house. They already have a sign in the yard. You're there for a reason. It's not too difficult to get them to say yes more times than not. But bottom line is I'm not moving forward until they've agreed that it's in their best interest to get the home sold now versus staying put the next few years. So a quick example on that, not to prolong the recording, but just to give an example. I was on a presentation. I don't sell too much anymore. The story is probably about a year old. But it was here in Rochester. I had my guys here call for me. I went on this appointment. It was here in Rochester. We have a pretty large Italian population. It was this loud, obnoxious, older Italian gentleman. And they wanted to sell because the kids were gone. They had a 3,000-plus square foot house. In our county, we have one of the highest taxes in the entire country. They were spending like $10,000 a month, or $10,000 a year in property taxes for this place, and it just made no sense. So I said, great, based on what you guys want to do, you want to downsize, kids are gone, house makes no sense. Now, would you guys agree it's in your best interest to get the home sold now versus staying put the next few years? And the guy, and this is a quote, so if you have, if you're afraid of cuss words, then cover your ears. But the guy says, it doesn't matter, we can stay put. That's exactly what he says to me across from the table. So his name is Richard, which is fun because I got to call him Dick the entire time, and that's a true story too. So I said, Dick, and you have to get tough with these guys because the only way to get them is to be tough right back. Puff your chest back out, or you're not going to get the listing, and you're sure as hell not going to have control. I said, Dick, don't kid yourself. You're in a 3,000 plus square foot house. Your wife started cleaning it. You're tired of maintaining it. The kids are gone. You're spending $10,000 a year in property taxes. It makes no sense at all for you guys to stay put. Don't you think it makes far more sense to sell this house now and move into a more maintainable property that you and your wife can enjoy and spend, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000 a year in taxes? Wouldn't that make more sense for you, Dick? Well, yeah. So wouldn't it make more sense if you got the home sold now versus staying put and spending $10,000 a year for the next 3, 4, 5 years? Would you agree to that? Well, yes. Good. I'm glad we handled that.
That's right. No, that's very strong. So, and what I've always is, Jeremy, I've written down 3 really important questions for you. One, do you absolutely have to sell your home? And that's where we start. After I go through the niceties of nice bowling trophy, we get right to it. So you're basically, that's kind of the big deal. And if they go no, or they say yes there, and then I go into, will you price your home to sell, or do you want to keep it on the market for a long period of time? I go, we'll wait. We want our price. Then I immediately flip it, and I said, well, folks, I guess at this point it doesn't really make sense to talk about comparable properties, recent sales, or anything. Really, my question to you, and I don't want to be abrasive, but I got to be direct, why should I take your listing? Let's be honest. It's failed to sell. You've just told me you don't have to sell it, or you're not willing to price it to sell. So, really, why do we need a real estate agent? So I love it. Your approach and mine, and that's why I said, seriously, I like the approach.
Our presentations really aren't very different. It's a little bit way of going about it. And, I think the key for me is I've never particularly liked, and this is just me, and I know it works very well, I've never really liked question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, question 5. It throws me off. I'm more of a think on my feet, quick-witted kind of person. So if I have the ability of staying on the structure of the presentation, knowing I'm still talking about the same topic, I'm still on segment 1, but I have the ability to kind of go where I want with it, where this my natural personality takes me and still be strong, that works best for me. When I was focused on the Mike Ferry script and doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'd get too caught up on where I was in the script and I wasn't thinking freely, and it didn't work for me. So that's why I like personally doing the segments, because it's really the same concept. It's no different than MFO. It's just done a little bit differently. They're both very strong.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to let you go to part 2. My question before you go to part 2, so you've wrapped up all the niceties. You determined not only, saleability, but more motivation. These folks have to move for reasons A, B, or C. And you might hit it right now, but do you transition or do you maintain the piece of the MFO script that says, folks, at the end of my presentation tonight, really 3 things are going to happen? And so you sort of, again, control, look, you can list with me or not. I don't really give a damn, but here's the 3 options. Is that a natural transition? Or
I personally don't say that, but I think it's fantastic. I have zero problem with it. I think it's great. I basically just start talking to the next thing. I say, okay, great. So we all agree that you guys want to get the home sold now. You don't want to stay put the next few years. Is that accurate? We're on the same page? Yes? Fantastic. Well, next thing, let me tell you about me. That's how I transition. And then the segment 2 is talking about yourself.
Yeah, fantastic. So, and I'll go back, obviously, and re-listen to that. But I really like the 3 because I've caught a lot of people, and they just go, what do you mean you won't list my house? Yeah. Well, can I tell you why that might happen? And they go, well, yeah, because we can't agree on price. You see, if we can agree on a price that's fair to the buyer and yet makes sense to you financially, again, folks, you don't need me. Right. You might need a banker, you might need a magician, but you don't need a real estate agent. Yep. So that's my second, so I like it, and I've flushed out people, and I'll leave the presentation there because, again, or they'll go, well, I don't like your attitude. And I'll go, well, I don't like yours. And this is a business decision for me as well. So if we can't agree on our first date, which is your best foot forward, folks, I'm not willing to work with you. So anyway, I'm kind of married to that. It's helped flush out and turn off the appointment pretty quickly. And they go, wow, if you ask me that, I'm pretty sure you're our guy. We want somebody aggressive. Where do we sign? And it's like, cool, right here.
Exactly. And it's not hard to convey why you're strong. You know, the reason why I sell so many homes and helped 150 families get their homes sold in the past 6 months while you're sat here not selling is because I am that aggressive. And if you sign a contract with me tonight, you will sell, period.
Period. End of story. Exactly. And I tell them, folks, I'm kind of blessed. Can I tell you why? And they go, why? They said, you know, well, you've mentioned all my stats and my figures, and I'm beating the market by blank and blank, and I'm doing X volume. But do you know why I'm doing that? And they go, why? Because I've got awesome clients. You see, right here at this point in our presentation, I make the decision whether I want to move forward or not. So really, I'm kind of stacking my stats. You see, I'm killing all the bad clients before they ever mess up my numbers. And I say it in a funny way, and they kind of laugh. And I go, so you're not going to mess up my numbers, are you? I mean, we can sell this at the end of the night. And, you know, so, yeah, man, I love sales. And I've not heard people as well as you sort of, you know, there's not many good salespeople. I'll just shut up and let you take part two. But it's exciting, dude. I could do this for hours.
I'm the same as you, man. I love this stuff. Yeah. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to shut up. So you've asked the pivotal question. I've got it written down here. Part two, you're moving into about you.
Yeah, part two is what you do as an agent to get a home sold. Your plan of action, your track record. One thing that's the thing that most agents are great at is talking about themselves. So most agents don't need a whole lot of help with that segment. But for those that are a little bashful or a little bit modest, if you're selling, you know, a decent volume in real estate, and, you know, that number is subjective, but we all know your average agent sells, you know, 4 or 5 homes a year. If you're selling 25, 30 homes or 150, 200 homes, make a big deal out of it. It's a crime to sit there and have success and help 35 families get their home sold in the last 6 months while their home didn't sell, and not bring that up and not say how successful you are. And if you sign a contract, your home will sell. So make sure you spend some time, you know, not necessarily boasting, but just making it clear that you're a professional and that you're going to get their home sold, that someone's finally here that can save the day. So you know, make sure you take that step. Talk about the plan of action. Talk about your marketing, your free staging, professional photography, you know, whatever it is that you do to get a home sold. And what locks down segment two is really simple. Based on everything I've shown you, do you think I can sell your house? It's a point-blank question. And I'm not going to move forward until they say yes. And if they say, well, no, you haven't gone over price yet, you know, that's a pretty common response. Hey, great point. The truth is, we'll go over price in a second, but we all know that price is the price is the price is the price is the price. And one of my favorite lines in a presentation is the next line, where I say, I can't make the home appraised for more than what it's worth. And anybody who tells you otherwise is lying. So we'll go over price in a moment. But based on everything I've shown you in the 50 families that I helped sell this year, do you think I'm qualified to sell your property? And if they don't say yes, ask them why. You know, all you agents sound the same. I'm not sure. The last guy said the same thing. Last guy had a good track record. I don't know. Well, yeah, I appreciate that. So if you don't mind, if you're not impressed, what are you looking for in the next agent? You know, what have I knocked on over? What were you hoping to get with the next agent that you hire? Maybe they say the last agent signed a contract and they disappeared and they never heard from them again, and they want a proactive agent, and they want an agent that's going to do an open house every single Sunday. Okay. Tell them you'll do it. Or tell them open houses are a waste of time and handle the objection. Whatever the case is, find out what's bothering them, what you have knocked on over, what you need to help them move forward with the progress or with the process, and make them agree that, yes, I can sell the house. So point-blank question, based on everything I've shown you, all the stats, track record that I have, all the families that I helped sell this year, do you think I'm qualified to sell your home? So once they say yes to that, you've gone over, yes, they want to get the home sold now. They don't want to wait the next few years. They want to sell now. And yes, they think you're qualified to handle the sale of the property. So it's pretty much locked down. All you got to do now is come to some sort of terms on price, you know, in terms of contract. So CMA, that's more on you guys to present. It's not my market. Some markets are different. I'll let you guys handle price, so you handle price. What I will say, and I firmly believe, I think some agents forget about this, is that price reductions is part of real estate. So if I want $225 and they want to sell and they owe $150, you know, and they expired at $275, they're saying, Jeremy, $225 makes sense. I get it. I understand. And the numbers make perfect sense to me. But gosh, $225, it's so low. I mean, can't we try at $240 and just have a little wiggle room? If you can handle the objection and you're confident you can get them to $225, then do it. But I'm not going to lose a contract over that. So more times than not, what I will say is, I'll tell you what, as your agent, it's my job to be honest with you. I think that 225 is where I need to be. I think 240 is too high, and I'm being honest and telling you that. But I have no problem being wrong. It's also my job is to always do as you ask. Let's try 240. If it hasn't sold in 14 to 21 days, then we need to come down in price. So we'll know we're wrong at that point, and it's great. If we get an offer and it sells, then hey, I was wrong, and we got the home sold for more. That's fantastic. Let's sign the contract, put me to work, and let me bring you an offer.
Yeah,
so it's really simple. Don't lose a contract because of price. Get a price reduction. If their motivation's strong, get a price reduction. If you don't, they will sell. If their motivation is strong, they will sell the property. Whether it's with you or the second or third agent, or whether it's at their price or 50,000 below, someone will sell that property if their motivation is strong. So get the contract signed and get a price reduction if you can't get it then. The way that I close every single appointment, and this is just what I do, is I say, so let's do this. Sign the contract, put me to work, and let me bring you an offer. In silence. Do not say a word. Let them reply. So let's do this. Sign the contract, put me to work, and let me bring you an offer. Usually they go, okay. I'll usually preface that in segment 3, when we're talking about price and the process of selling. I'll say, I'll make a joke about selling your home. I'll say most people think, they sign a contract and they go to U-Haul and buy a bunch of boxes and start packing all their stuff. That's not how it goes. First you sign the contract, then I bring you an offer, then we negotiate the offer. If you don't like the offer, we find another one, then you sell it, then yada, yada, yada. So they've already heard that term, bring me an offer, or we negotiate the offer, the whole process of selling. So by the time we've come through length, terms of contract, commission, all that good stuff, let's do this. Sign the contract, put me to work, and let me bring you guys an offer. And they almost always say yes. So if you present segments 1, 2, 3 like that, you're in order, you're in control. Yes, I want to sell. Yes, you can sell my property. Sign the contract, put me to work, let me bring you an offer, and you're showing up to at least 50% of our appointments, which should be closer to 70%. There's no way in hell that you guys won't be taking 4, 5, 6 listings every single month from this, because it's not complicated. It's not.
Yeah, absolutely. So that sounds fantastic. One quick thing, when we're doing price, because you said if you can beat the objection, and I'm serious. I'm impressed by you. So one thing, let's say they go, well, Jeff, we really need 250,000, or I won't sell the thing, and I'm going to give it away at 215,000. I mean, God, an idiot could sell it at 215,000. I stop, I take a moment, and I handle the objection. And I'm just curious if you want to play for a second and give me yours, or sort of if you want to hear mine and sort of go back and forth. But I think that is pivotal. So I hear you. Let's in front of the client. Let's handle it. Let's show the professionalism. Let's be strong. Let's drive. But I do, and price reductions are always in order. And in fact, I told you I write them in. Do you have 1 or 2 objection handlers for price, or?
I really don't, other than just repeating their motivation and the fact that they don't want to sell, or that they have to sell. I'm sorry. If you want 255 and your home is worth 240, well, you already told me that you can't sell. So if you want, we can either get real on 240, let me bring you an offer, and you guys can sell to the next house, or I can come back in 4 or 5 years. But we both know 4 or 5 years isn't an option for you. So allow me to do my job, bring you to, put me to work, let me bring you an offer, and let's figure it out. Something like that. But let me hear what you say. I'm sure you're a little more in depth than that.
Yeah, well, no, I think so. And again, I think the power of sales is I control the situation and I ask pointed questions. So that was actually pretty strong. But I'd go, okay, so Jeremy, based upon what I've shown you tonight, you understand recent sales, you understand active listings, pendings, and all the same. We've even gone over what I call fantasy land, right? This is where sellers want to sell and agents would love to collect a commission at twice the value. But evidently they didn't, or we wouldn't be sitting here. So based upon everything we've reviewed, what specifically in your mind causes your home to be worth, in this case, $27,000 more than your neighbor's? And they'll go, well, honey, tell them, we put paint and carpet in it. And I'll go, well, stop, Jeremy. You put paint and carpet. Well, yeah, we did. And I'll go, fair enough. And how much was the paint? And they'll go, well, a couple thousand. And I'll sort of count on my fingers and just be funny. I'll go, so folks, did you pay $24,000 for the carpet? And they go, well, no, that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. We paid $3,000. So, and in fairness, I mean, the dog and the kid has puked and peed on the carpet, and you moved in last year, and the toolbox dinged the paint. So, have we appreciated 18,000? Folks, am I missing something? And then all of a sudden, I'm quiet, and they're like, "Well, folks, let me ask you another way. If I could increase the value of your home by $18,000 or $27,000 simply by you hiring out, not doing the work yourself, you hire out, have new carpet and paint, don't you believe that every seller on the planet would put new paint and carpet and increase $20,000 on the sale?" Folks, you see, that's not realistic. And so that's my objection handler. Maybe longer than yours, and depending on whether they're a D or whatever. But anyway, when I do that, then I go right back through, and and I ask them again. So based upon what we covered, I'm going to recommend a price of $220,000 for your home. Jeremy, will you list your home tonight at $220,000? Then I shut up. Anyway, I'm gonna listen back through the call because I really like yours, and I think a blend of your presentation and mine is going to be pretty dangerous.
This was fun for me, Jeff. I haven't heard the straight up Mike Ferry listing presentation since I practiced it, 5-6 years ago, and it was fun to hear about Fantasyland. I forgot about Fantasyland.
Yeah, and I still do it, and, and I mean I go straight through it. So and it's so powerful. And if they're still obnoxious or whatever, then we do objection handlers, and I role play those all the time. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I just think it's a fun piece. And finally, when you beat the price, they'll go, "Well, we want to do it for 30 days." I mean, the last agent, he would do it for 30 days. I go right in. So I'm not going to take all your time. But yeah,
it's all a battle. It's all fun. It's all competition. It's what we love to do, and we're always in control, and that's why we're good. The one thing that I always say, and I've already said it once before, is one mistake I think a lot of agents make, and not to put a community attached to it, but I think a lot of Mike Ferry agents do this, is they get so caught up in price that they miss out on listings because of it. When price reductions is part of real estate. I will never lose a contract because they won't come down 10, 15,000. I'm going to get the contract signed, and I'm going to beat them up for a price reduction. When the last time I sold was last year, I just kind of for fun, just really to practice. I had my guy set me some appointments. I wanted 5 listing appointments. I took 5 listings. I fired 2 of them, and I sold 3, and it took like 7 hours. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that's what it's about, and it pays better than any damn career, profession, whatever you want to call it, in the world. You can have fun the whole time, and then you can go to Miami or Vegas and hang out with it's pretty sick.
Well, I'm glad we did this. It's a great industry, and thanks for recording that. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.